Welcome to the Back 9 Six-Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Back 9 Six-Pack. My name is Mitch. I'm joined by three esteemed colleagues tonight. Of course, as always, Justin. How's it going, buddy?
Good. Day 2 of recovery.
Better than last night? That's good.
Yeah.
And then, as it says on the screen here, the one and only Nicky Picks. Sir, how are you?
Going well. How is everybody?
Can't complain. Last but not least, my Stampede partner, Mr. Andrew Guenther. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. Excited to be here. Late night, picking some fictional sports characters. Couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, we had to waken Guenth from his pre-sleep to join us for this one. So
That's right.
Truly, thank you for your service, first and foremost. So if you've been listening to the show at all, you've heard us tease our best fictional sports character bracket. We are here tonight to break that down in full. Field of 64. We're going to give you the full-on bracketology of it all, the process we went through to get here, everything that went behind this stupid idea that's going to be a lot of fun for us to talk about for a little bit here. So to kick us off, let's kind of get into just our overall ethos and approach with this thing. I got to get out in front of it here, and then Justin, I'm going to kick it to you to kind of explain a little bit more since you sort of kickstarted all of this. The baseline of this is these are characters from movies and shows that are fictionalized stories only. I say that because, look, one, it's heavily focused on players and coaches. Two, there's going to be names here that you think should be here, but they're not because those stories are based on true stories. What have I missed, Justin?
No, I think that's it. Well, originally we were kind of putting like this list together, and we were like, there's like a handful of real ones, and it didn't feel right to rank those because, you know, real life stories are not the same, typically not as funny as some of the people we have in here. But yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good breakdown of how we went about putting these characters all together. And I think we did a pretty good job, if I should say.
Yeah, I mean, myself as someone who's not a huge TV and movie buff, I think I'm as confident in this list of 64, this field of 64 as I can be. Look, the main goal was not to get this right. We're not trying to make a literal best 64 movie character or sports movie characters list. This is just to have some fun. Look, we're probably over-indexed on golf. I'm just going to say that right up front. Stand up. First thing we need to recognize, there are no women in the field. Completely unintentional. In our search for truly fictional stories, it's a little hard to try to like pull in characters from Bring It On. Unfortunately, they just don't hold mustard to some of these other stories. So,
just to add to my comment real quick, I did ask a female today to name some kind of female fictional sports character, and she couldn't do it. And she knows a decent amount about movies, so just putting that out there.
Guenther, do you have anything else to add?
I think there is one. We can say there is one that I think is maybe a miss on our part, 1 through 64. Maximus Decimus Meridius, the leader of the general of the legions in the north. I think that would have been a good athlete. You could argue warrior athlete, but back then, the man in the arena is kind of where it all stems from. But this is a hell of a list.
Indeed. Hell of a list indeed. Seeding process. We're just going to get right into it here. Like I said, full field of 64. Justin took an initial stab. We all kind of poked holes in it, tossed out some other ideas, tried to kick some people out, put some people in, and we kind of went back and forth. At which point, I told these guys before we jumped on, I got way too involved in the whole bracketology, the Joe Lenardi of it all here. I went ahead and made a spreadsheet where we thereby ranked all 64 people, giving them points. So 64 points for who we thought would be the one overall seed, all the way down to 1 point for who should be the worst character in the field. Total points seeded everybody for us. We only had one case to use a tiebreaker, which was median points, and that was for the very last spot, number 64, which Mr. Harry Potter had a lower median score than who was it? Phil
Phil Brickma.
Yeah, Phil Brickma. Yep. So yeah, that's the way we went about it. Look, the full bracket, I'm going to get it up on the website. So if you're listening or watching this now, it's probably available already. If you really want to get in and, print it out, fill out your own bracket, let us know where we got wrong as we go through this here. That would be awesome. Last note of the bracket, 4 regions, obviously. We named them all for the 1 seed. So I'll give you guys a sneak peek before we dive in here. Our regions, the Southpaw region, Rocky Balboa. The 2 seed in that region, Ted Lasso. We'll get to that in a moment.
Controversy.
Flying V, Gordon Bombay, Bagger Vance, the 2 seed in that region. The Defining Moment region, Roy McAvoy with an electric 2 seed and Ricky Bobby. Gold Jacket region goes to Shooter McGavin as the 1 seed and Carl Spackler as the 2. A lot of golf in that region, by the way. Massive golf matchups there.
Very golf heavy.
Yeah, I mean, as I was going through this, I don't know how you guys, but like some of these matchups, it's like you really could not script. I did not do that intentionally. This was all a numbers game. And we get some rematches from the fictional, the big screen down to this sheet of paper here.
Yeah, well, you know what I found out when I was filling mine out? We get some caddy on caddy crime in some rounds. We get some baseball on baseball crime in a couple rounds. Yeah, which is good. I think it's a good thing.
You get some Roy. You get some Roy on Roy violence down in Defining Moment. Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
So a lot of fun going through this. Super excited to break it down. Now, a couple more facts about this field. These are guys, I think you guys don't have notes on this, but I do, so I'm going to run through them. Movies and shows with the most characters. You guys have a guess just based on being involved?
Seems like Happy Gilmore was up there.
Gilmore had 3. That's a tie for second. Caddyshack had 5 characters.
Wow.
Everyone else that came in second had 3. Ted Lasso, Happy Gilmore, Major League, and Friday Night Lights all had 3 characters each. Actors appearing the most. I think we probably know.
Sandler's
Sandler. Okay, Costner. Yeah,
Costner's, yes.
Honestly, the GOAT of it all here. Kevin Costner, 3. Tin Cup, Field of Dreams, and Bull Durham. He was not lower than a 5 seed, which is, I think, like I said, I think he might be the GOAT of it all.
That speaks to his acting ability. I truly believe. And by the way, I think across 3 different sports, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, 2 here.
Okay, 2. Okay.
The shocking tie with 3. Will Ferrell.
Wow.
Talladega Nights, semi-pro, and kicking and screaming. That's a 3-sport athlete right there.
Can we hold on? No. Wait a second. He's the 3-sport athlete that like rides the bench on each team. Like he's just like on the team. Can we agree with that?
Ricky Bobby's a 2 seed.
I guess that's true.
He's the best there ever was.
He's like the best football player that plays 2 other sports. Is that what we're deciding?
Yeah.
He fouls out in the second quarter of every basketball game in the winter.
Yeah, 100%. Tons of actors that have 2 appearances. You could argue Adam Sandler with 3. We did not take his version of Paul Crewe. We gave that to Mr. Burt Reynolds. But he had 2 with Waterboy and Happy Gilmore. Carl Weathers, Happy Gilmore and Rocky. Gene Hackman, Hoosiers and the Replacements. Keanu Reeves, The Replacements and Point Break. Wesley Snipes, Major League and White Men Can't Jump. And Woody Harrelson, White Men Can't Jump and Kingpin.
Both electric movies, by the way.
I look, already hand up, never seen Kingpin.
Oh my God.
But I saw the picture, like the screenshot of like him for the movie. Oh, I need to see it, I think.
Yeah, it's electric.
Pretty good.
Especially with our receding hairlines in this group. You need to see that movie.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, now this is where we get into the real fun and the drama of it all. Discrepancies in seating. I just absolutely had to put Nick on blast here. Give him a platform to defend himself. I did also say I think he might be the foremost free thinker of our time when he did this. But I went through and just kind of tracked how many people rank somebody about 20 spots off in either direction from the median rank. Justin did that 4 times. I did it twice. Guenth only once. Nick did it 15 times.
I can already tell you 2 shows that just got absolutely destroyed seating wise because of me. Friday Night Lights, Ted Lasso. That knocks out, 6 or 7 characters alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, I've got data for you, pal. Ted Lasso, the median was 63. This was a man slated to be the number 2 overall seed in the tournament. Nick ranks him with 21 points. Takes him from the number 1 overall to the worst 2 seed. Unbelievable.
And my guy's not even going to preview, not even making the Sweet 16.
Oh my God!
Did you stop watching? Did you stop watching sports movies and sports television? Like what? In like 2004, 2003?
You'll find out how my bracket plays out. Okay.
Yeah. Eric Taylor, median rank of 57. Nick 14.
Wow.
Yep.
He went from
my boy.
Went from a 1 seed to the worst 4 seed.
Update doesn't make it to the second weekend.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Here we go.
Ricky Vaughn from Major League, 53 was the median. Nick 34. He went from a 2 to a 4 seed.
Damn.
Roy Kent, median 53.5. Nick 22, from 2 to a 5 seed.
And that was that do you have any idea if that was the highest Ted Lasso character ranking for me? Probably had to be.
Yeah, you had him ahead of Ted Lasso, so I assume so.
Yep.
Wow. You can make an argument for that. Like
yeah.
But not that low.
No, not that low.
Couple more, and then the home run point on it all here. Ty Webb, a median of 46. Nick, 26, so he went from a 3 to a 6 seed. Tim Riggins from 43.5 at the median to a 13 for Nick.
Yeah, crushed him.
5 to a 7.
That good-looking dude.
Some notable characters ranked ahead of these characters by Nick. Patches O'Houlihan gets 37 points.
Hell yeah.
Really?
Phil Weston from Kicking and Screaming gets 36. And Johnny Utah from Point Break gets 35 points, all ranked higher than those gentlemen above.
Look,
just wild.
Johnny Utah. I'm going to give you the Johnny Utah. Johnny Utah was a legit athlete in that movie, by the way. Like surfing, football.
Hey, here comes the Ohio State fan.
Yeah. Hang on, you gave him 2 points.
Phil Weston is such an underrated Will Ferrell character, along with Kicking and Screaming. So I don't want to hear it, especially because he doesn't even make it out of my first round. So again, ranked high, but
yeah, Kicking and Screaming is a unappreciated sports movie. I think it doesn't get the love because it's like, he's a coach of a youth soccer team, but it's pretty good. Mike Ditka's in there too. It's such a good movie.
We should have just had Young Son. Yeah.
Yeah.
That should have been the highest ranked character from that movie.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Yeah. Okay. So on that note, that's how the seeding went down. That's why you'll see some of these a little bit of discrepancy in where you think characters may or may not be. You can thank Nick for that. So I just wanted to, real quick, do you guys remember your top 4 characters, like who you ranked?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, I have an idea.
Yeah, me too, but I'm probably missing one.
I know 2 for sure, just looking.
Guenth, do you have yours?
Yeah, I got Roy Hobbs is number 1. Ted Lasso is number 2. Crash Davis is number 3. And then Kenny Powers is number 4, baby.
Jesus.
Kenny Powers.
That's a 3 out of 4 baseball 1 seeds. I respect it though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Kenny Powers, man.
Okay, for Nick, I've got yours right here. Nick,
hold on, let me try to. Okay. I got Rocky.
Yep.
Gordon Bombay.
Yep.
Happy.
Apollo Creed.
Okay.
He was throwing darts when he did this.
I struggled when I got to that part of the bracket.
Yeah.
And then I don't know.
Bobby Boucher.
Oh, that's okay. Right. Yeah, Waterboy. Yeah, you were Waterboy heavy. I forgot about that. I think I gave you crap for that.
Oh man, so good. Justin, do you know yours?
A lot of crap then.
I know Ted Lasso was in there.
Yep.
Gordon Bombay was in there. Roy McAvoy, aka Tin Cup, and I want to say, man, I think
Probably
I had an
Rocky,
outlier
wasn't it?
in there too.
You had
What?
Gordon Bombay.
Yeah, man, I want to
Rocky?
say, yeah, it might have been Rocky. I might have been
Yeah.
pretty chalk.
You had
Actually.
Rocky number 1, Ted Lasso number 2, Gordon Bombay 3, and Roy McAvoy 4.
Okay, yeah.
For me, I had Ted Lasso first overall, Roy McAvoy second, Rocky Balboa third, Judge Smales fourth.
God, yeah. He's like not even like in the top 3 best characters in that movie for what it's worth.
That's so wrong. That's so wrong. But yeah, I just wanted to establish that just so people could kind of hear and get a sense of like, what you might hear the rest of the way here. Gunther, I'm going to kick it to you. Anybody stand out as way too high in the rankings to you just upon initial viewing of the bracket?
So I'm going to be honest. I am not a Mighty Ducks guy. I just never watched it as a kid. It wasn't. I understand everybody's love for it. So Gordon Bombay is a tough one for me to see that high. Yeah, I mean,
Tell everybody what you said about Rocky the other day.
overrated.
Can't even read.
Guy can't even read.
I will say, I think it's hilarious that Philadelphia is their whole mantra is based on a fake fighter. Like,
Yeah.
is that
There's
not
a
the weirdest
statue
thing in the
of him.
world, or what?
Yeah, it's a very funny thing. I'm trying to think of who else like really stood out as a big jump up person. Yeah,
If you got any seated too low, you can hit me with those too while you
well,
got the
I
mic.
proudly have one seated very, very low. Justin and I both do. And probably the most fictional character on this list.
Yeah.
I'll kick it to you. I'll let you
Okay.
go on this one.
Oh, it's definitely Rudy Rudiger.
Yes.
Again, he is a real person, okay?
Yep.
But if you ask anybody that was on that team, there's like hundreds and hundreds of interviews surrounding that team that he was on. I don't know if anything that actually happened in the movie actually happened in real life. Like, it is almost 100% fiction.
Oh, well, that's the only way he made this list. But I do agree with you that like that's going to stand out to people as like, holy shit, Rudy's a 15 seed.
Yeah, and just so you know, too, like, you know how he got the movie? He knew someone in Hollywood and pretty much begged for, like, years to, like, make this movie, and they finally did it. Like, that's how it got made. So, and then, Notre Dame's fan base is so gigantic that, that you make a movie about it, it's going to make a gazillion dollars just right off the bat. So,
yeah. Well, I kind of, Gunther, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of second the Gordon Bombay thing. I ranked him highly just like on notoriety, basically. Out of respect, but I do agree, and I do not have him coming out of that bracket as a 1 seed. Spoiler there. Also, really, the Flying V bracket just kind of low-key stinks, if I'm being honest. That's the problem. The Bagger Vance as a 2 seed blew my mind. I'm not gonna lie, guys.
That's the one that I kind of ranked kind of high. And like, look, I love that movie, and Will Smith is fantastic in that movie. I mean, he's like the folky, like caddy, right? So it's kind of cool. I think I just let my love for golf and that entire as a whole kind of blind me a little bit.
Yeah, that feels like one of the like bad Carolina teams that like gets a 2 seed out of respect, and then they get bounced in the second round.
That's a fair take.
Yeah, Nick, do you have any that stand out to you?
No, I kind of agree with the Bagger Vance thing, and like you said, looking at that region, you compare it to the other 3, and there are just like heavy hitter matchups after heavy hitter matchups in the other 3, and this one I just kind of find myself like, yeah. And like, I mean, you guys are roasting my boy Coach Bombay, but like, I mean, he had a pretty easy path.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Good.
Well, I was gonna say Gordon Bombay, but I'm gonna go a little different route here. Like I love Carl Spackler, but him as a 2 seed seems generous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree.
It's hard to rank. It was hard to rank 1 through 64 because at times you were like, oh man, he was just so funny in that. Versus, oh, that is a great character.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like that was the tough part for me, is figuring out like, okay, like I'd imagine Bagger Vance is based off a book. Like,
I believe so. Yes, I think.
like there's probably so much like depth and stuff to that character of Bagger Vance.
Yep.
But then also like we outranked him with Gordon Bombay, like the lawyer with the DUI or former player with the DUI.
Coaches
that,
the Pee Wee hockey team.
Yeah, coaches it.
Dude.
Right. Like
Minnesota legend, though.
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. He's a Minnesota.
Minnesota
legend.
Miracle Man.
Yeah. And like Shooter McGavin, right?
Yeah, for
So
100%.
it's that was tough.
Okay, well that all feels pretty good then. We got to talk Roy Hobbs. This was our biggest, craziest discrepancy in the whole ranking process.
Mhm.
All 4 of us were 20 off the median ranking on this one. I believe Justin and I were on the low end of that, ranking him lower. Nick and Guenth, you guys ranked him very high. Guenth, you had him, was he your number 1 overall? Was that what you said? Look, I guess I'll turn the floor over to you then. Sell us on Roy Hobbs. Why he wound up being an 8 seed because of this.
Yeah, you're welcome for that. He he is everything that you would want in a sports character. I mean, he's good. He faces the adversity early in life. He's about to make it. He's about to make it. About to be the best there ever was. A scorned lover shoots him. He has to go back. He has to build back
Hey, when
up,
that
face
happens.
more and more adversity. Now he's facing Father Time. The owner wants him to lose. They're trying to get him to throw the games. He has high character. He won't do it. Makes his bat out of a tree that got struck by lightning. He's a
That's
wonder
the
boy.
sickest part.
Mythical nature to it.
Little mythical nature to it. He is, in my opinion, the best fictional sports character. So that's me. If you've seen the movie, he hits the home run there at the end. The sparks are coming down. Oh, the music's going. It's waterworks every single time.
Can I say this?
I've actually, go
I
ahead.
love that movie. I do love that movie, and I love Roy Hobbs. I think part of it is 'cause I haven't seen it in a while. Like, I haven't watched it in a while. It's been probably at least 10 years since I've seen it.
Don't tell me you love Roy Hobbs. You rated him 11 spots behind Smash Williams.
I have recency bias. Everybody knows that.
No,
Yeah,
and then another
actually,
thing about
I
it.
So the book.
Oh, shit.
I read The Natural freshman year of high school. I took a sports and literature class. So I read the book. We watched the movie. So there's kind of like a nostalgia vibe there too for me. But, you know, everything that Gunther said kind of hit the nail on the head. And like I said, the like mythical nature behind the story kind of stuck with me too. Same thing with like Bagger Vance. Like there's just that mythical aspect to it that I enjoy.
I also remember being down at Riverfront Stadium, and that was the old Reds Take the Field video was set to the Natural music.
Yeah,
And then you have
sick.
Marty and Joe
Yeah, that's cool.
highlights of their announcement, like them announcing games, and it was there it goes, it was the music's going. It was So it's a big nostalgia thing for me, but I truly do think he is the number 1.
Yeah. No, I mean, great sell job. I think I fall in Justin's boat here where like I probably watched it as a kid and just I haven't seen it in 20 years, you know,
Yep.
out of sight, out of mind kind of thing.
Yeah.
Plus it hits you different ages, right?
Mhm.
So
Well, I guess it's okay for you guys to be out of sight, out of mind. But when I rank Smash Williams as the lowest seed, I get roasted for it.
yeah, I didn't call out Smash Williams in that list, pal.
Yeah,
I agree
whatever.
with you. Friday Night Lights kind of, I never watched it, but I just, not my vibe, not my scene.
Yeah.
All right. We kind of talked through this strongest, weakest regions. I think we all felt like Flying V was kind of a little bit of a dud when all things shook out. Look, Rocky, the number 1 overall seed, has to come out against Roy Hobbs in the second round. Like that, the Southpaw region's got some hitters in it for sure. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I kind of feel like once you get to the Sweet 16 of that, the Gold Jacket region, there's just like,
It's a murderer's row.
yeah.
Yeah, and some serious heavy hitters in the Sweet 16. You know, assuming you don't have like any big upsets. I will say this: I did not have Ricky Vaughn making it out of the second round. That's a nostalgia thing for me. Benny the Jet from Sandlot.
Yeah.
That, you know, that hits me. That's like childhood. Like I think of Sandlot, I think of every childhood memory I think I've ever had. So that was a nostalgia thing. But either way, if it's him or Ricky, like it's still, you know, it's still a pretty solid, regional quarterfinal there or semifinal. Excuse me.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the same boat as you. I think it sounds like all four of us probably had that same decision.
Yeah, I think the bottom two regions were the toughest for me. Gold Jacket and then the defining moment one.
Yeah.
I kind of went back and forth on for quite a bit.
So does that mean like in the Flying V, we all had some like maybe pretty large upsets that we would probably picked?
I didn't have any large ups. Like the worst upset I had was a 10/7. Actually, I had 3 10/7s in this thing. But I didn't have anything worse than that. But that region specifically, yes, all hell breaks loose for me in that region.
Yeah. Yep. I'd agree with that. I think it's just because there's so many like mid-tier people in that. It's like you kind of go either way on any of the matchups that happen.
Yeah.
You get the Costner Bowl in the round of 32 for me. You got Ray Kinsella and Crash Davis.
Yeah. There's quite a few matchups. Like I highlighted a few, and if you guys have any, toss them out too. But a couple that stood out. Happy Gilmore versus Danny Noonan in the first round. Little golf matchup right off the bat. Guenth, you just called out Ray Kinsella and Crash Davis, the Costner battle right there. That in the second round. What was another one we had here?
Romeo Passar versus Bagger Vance is caddy on caddy matchup.
In the second round, we get, depending on what route you went, we'll get to the Sweet 16, but you get another rematch of Rocky versus Apollo Creed, potentially.
I saw that one. There's also the possibility of a Happy Gilmore and Shooter McGavin. I know that's in another region.
Yes.
There is that
100%.
possibility.
Yeah, so I mean, just lots of opportunity for some fun stuff to happen here. With that, I don't know. I think it might be time, guys. We're gonna walk through some of our brackets here.
Yeah.
Should we list off like, hey, here's the 4 1 seeds, the 2 seeds, like just so those listening at home.
We already did the 1s and 2s. Thank you for listening. But if you want to, I don't mind if we want to run down at least the top 4 of each bracket. I mean, we're going to get there anyway, I think, in a lot of cases.
Okay.
But yeah, so let's go straight to the Sweet 16. And if you have like an upset or something you want to mention or whatever from the first round or something, like feel free to call that out.
Yeah.
Nick, I'm going to you first.
Okay. Do we want to like?
Let's go region by region.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, do we all want to do the Southpaw region and then we'll move on to the next region?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do that.
Let's do that.
All right. So Southpaw region, my Sweet 16. I have Rocky versus Apollo Creed rematch, and then Kenny Powers versus Ted Lasso. So nearly chalk, with Creed knocking out Coach Eric Taylor in the second round, which I don't think is like a huge shock there. I do have an upset in this bracket though, in this region that I think will turn some heads. I got Coach Bud Kilmer, an 11 seed, knocking off Rodney Dangerfield's character from Caddyshack in the first round. But outside of that, it was pretty chalky.
God, that's such a hater move.
It is a hater move. I don't love Rodney Dangerfield. I like Varsity Blues.
Ain't getting no respect.
I can get it though, because I would be willing to bet that not many people know Rodney Dangerfield's character's name in Caddyshack. It is just it's just Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get it.
Plus, look, John Voight, that's a hitter from this era of movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Anybody have anything different for the Sweet 16 there?
I got Roy Hobbs and Eric Taylor
Hell yeah.
So I got
Down
Eric Taylor
goes
upset, or that's not an upset. I went chalk there. Over Apollo Creed, obviously Rocky over Harry Potter in the first round. Roy Hobbs over Willie Beeman. Then Roy Hobbs knocking out Rocky Balboa. So Roy Hobbs, Coach Eric Taylor, sorry.
Yeah.
Disrespectful. I got Kenny Powers over Al Chervik, Ted Lasso over Rod Tidwell to get us to the Sweet 16 there.
Yeah, that was one of my 10-7 upsets as well there. Tidwell over Tony D'Amato.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, you got to explain the Harry Potter in the field thing.
Well, he was a first-year starter in Quidditch. There's not many of those. It runs in his bloodlines. His dad was the snitch chaser or whatever you want to call it. I think that's what they're called.
The Seeker.
The Seeker.
The snitch chaser.
I've got two females in my house rereading Harry Potter right now. But I just thought it was like first year starter. It is, look, I know Quidditch. It's a fictional characters, dude.
Hey,
it's a fictional
sure.
game. You want to talk about multiple levels of like fictional? That's where it hits. So that's why I put him in there. I thought he deserved a little bit of a respect for his bloodline and his being a first year starter for I don't even know what house he was in.
Gryffindor. God.
There it is.
I guess played the most important position on the field, the pitch, if you will.
Yeah.
Also, someone help me out with this. Is it the Triwizard Cup from the Goblet of Fire?
Triwizard Tournament.
Triwizard Tournament.
Mm-hmm.
He's victorious in that. I mean, he's got a little bit of resume. Got some varsity letters.
So that was my reasoning behind it.
Yeah. I decided to get that on record for the people. That's all.
Do you want me to do my Sweet 16 while I'm at it?
Yeah. What do you got?
All right, so I got Rocky versus Coach Eric Taylor. Excuse me. God, no respect for him.
Nope.
Maybe it was when he left his job after like 3 months and went back to Dillon.
And then took a job with the FBI after Jordan Belfort.
Yeah, God, this guy's been all over the place. truly a man of many characters. And then my second matchup is I've got Kenny Powers against Ted Lasso. I also had that same look. I love Tony from Any Given Sunday, but Rod Tidwell, probably one of the most famous quotes. It's up there. Most famous quotes from sports movies. The show the money part, and he's like, "Show me!" Like, come on, Jerry, can't hear you. Like that's such a good. He's such a good character on so many levels.
Mm-hmm.
Did we have a Tidwell sweep? Because I also had him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Wow, impressive there. All right, Gold Jacket region. I will kick us off down here. Sweet 16, no surprise here. Shooter McGavin. We already talked a little bit about Benny the Jet. He moved on over Ricky Vaughn for me as well. A little bit of a golfer. Look, Happy Gilmore is running a murderer's row of golfers here, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He takes out Danny Noonan in the first round, has to face Ty Webb, Danny Noonan's mentor, in the second round, but he gets through for the Sweet 16 for me. Down at the bottom, I had to take White Goodman in the first round over Norman Dale. Represent dodgeball a little bit. And possibly the zaniest matchup in this entire bracket, Carl Spackler versus White Goodman. I had Carl Spackler moving on to the Sweet 16 there.
Just an absolute eccentric matchup there.
Yeah.
I, too, have the same Sweet 16 down in that region. Shooter versus Benny the Jet. Happy versus Carl Spackler. I did have the White Goodman upset. And then Ty Webb didn't make it out of my first round. Another Caddyshack member going down to Ranoff Juna, a different golf character, Matt Damon from Legend of Bagger Vance.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, that was a tough one for me, honestly.
Your rankings, Nick, ended up like having all of the Caddyshack characters as 6 seeds, and that's just so disgraceful.
God.
It put us in a bad spot for the whole bracket, to be honest.
Hey, the committee, that's what the committee says.
Yep.
Go ahead, Guenth.
All right. I went Shooter over Irv Blitzer from Cool Runnings there. I went Benny the Jet Rodriguez over Ricky Vaughn. I actually am not a big Sandlot fan. I think it might not even be, I can't list off the top of my head right now, but it might not be like top 5 baseball movies for me. Especially too, like him getting in over Ricky Vaughn is like, that's a big one, but it's a great character. I mean, nobody when we were growing up was ever cooler than Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And his PF Flyers. And man, he was the man. I got Happy Gilmore getting there over Ty Webb. I also started the Ty Webb Ranoff Juna round, like opening round matchup, because that was a tough one. And then I have Norman Dale in my Sweet 16 over Carl Spackler. We were, I was somewhere. I was watching a high school basketball game over the weekend, and the joke came up. It was like, hey, my team's on the floor. Like, that's a great moment. Great moment. So yeah, that's back to the like layers of the character for me, like over Carl Spackler. Like, is he a sports character?
Look, we got a little loose with this one, to be honest.
Yeah, Mitch and I had this conversation.
He is a great character. Is he a sports?
Look, we're a podcast for the superintendents of golf courses.
That's true.
We love them enough to put him in here as an athlete.
You know, sports aren't just about the athletes. It's about those that prepare the fields, the courses, the pitches.
Like Ray Kinsella would be a gray area then, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Technically.
I also brought up Jerry Maguire not being in the field. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. He's a sports agent. You know, everybody needs an agent.
Well, all the supers can be very proud to have Carl Spackler carrying their flag.
Hell yeah. So I went McGavin over Irv Blitzer. That wasn't look, I love Shooter McGavin. I think if it was a different matchup, if like Irv was against someone else, Cool Runnings, a very underrated movie. And he took the first Jamaican bobsled team, to new heights, right? But I had McGavin moving on from there. Benny the Jet beating Ricky Vaughn. Love both of those movies. Tough one for me, but yeah, Benny is a legend, and legends never die. So, I had Happy over Ty Webb. That was a tough one. I ended up going with Ty on that one, but then Happy taking him. And then this was a tough one. Like, I love Hoosiers so much, but I think if Norman Dale was playing anybody else, it would like any other 10 seed. I probably take Norman Dale, but I took White Goodman here. Maybe some recency bias, but again, like I think if he was playing any other 10 seed, I probably would have had Norman Dale. And then I had Carl Spackler beating White Goodman to final out my 16 round, or that part of the bracket.
All right, Guenth, take us up to the Flying V region.
Flying V region. This is, I think we said this was the kind of the crazy one where it got a little wild. My Sweet 16, I got Shane Falco over Gordon Bombay.
Jesus.
Somewhere
can I say
Ryan
this?
Prinkle's shedding a tear somewhere right now. He loves
Can I
that.
say this? Like, the replacements, I've seen it. It is a bit of a blind spot for me. I'll admit that.
The Replacements is like that ultimate TBS movie that you've just seen like a million
It was
parts
just
of
on
it,
this past weekend.
Yeah, but you never have seen it all the way through. You've just seen different scenes of it throughout time.
Correct. Shane Falco. He's a good one. And then I had the Costner Bowl. I had Ray Kinsella against Crash Davis. Boys, Crash Davis is an elite. An elite character.
He is.
I coached that college summer baseball team for a few years. I was on the coaching staff for that. And that movie just felt like the perfect depiction where you play 6 nights a week you're on a bus going to different towns in the Midwest. Like we were from Hamilton, had a team in Richmond, we had a team in Athens, we had a team up in Muskegon, Michigan. Like you were just on the bus constantly. That movie just really seems to kind of sum up that world of, of baseball. And Crash Davis is kind of the guy in that movie. Great character. So I got Shane Falco, Crash Davis. Next I had Cal Naughton Jr. Against Lou Brown in the round of 32. And we went ahead and went with Lou Brown. Now, I also do want to mention Jimmy Chitwood is on here. Jimmy Chitwood missed one shot the entire movie.
That is fair. He does not miss.
He missed one shot, and it's because Norman Dale got in his head.
Yeah.
But Lou Brown is my guy there in the Sweet 16. And then I got Bagger Vance over Mr. Miyagi to round out my my four in that region. So Shane Falco, Crash Davis, Lou Brown, and Bagger Vance is mine.
All right, Nick, what do you got?
I think you guys know personally where I stand on the Mighty Ducks. So I have Gordon Bombay beating Shane Falco. I actually do like the replacements quite a bit. So it wasn't really a tough pick, but it just sucked that they got matched up against one another.
Can I say this? I thought you were going to go Phil Brickma over Gordon Bombay there.
No, good Lord.
Dude,
No.
Rookie of the Year it's a great movie, and he's so good in that.
Yeah.
For the listeners at home, I have a Gordon Bombay Minnesota Waves hockey jersey hanging in the closet upstairs. So I also had the Kevin Costner Bowl, Ray Kinsella, Crash Davis, with Ray Kinsella from Field of Dreams taking that one. Same thing as Guenth, Cal Knott, and Lou Brown, with Lou Brown moving on. And then Bagger Vance over Mr. Miyagi as well.
Man, okay, so you guys are going to get just so angry at this bracket for me, because it really goes off the rails here.
Same.
I mean, other than like the first one, so I had Bombay. I actually took Willie Mays Hayes here.
Yeah.
Just Wesley Snipes is awesome, and I've always, he's great. And he's got two characters in here. He deserves to move on somewhere. But I took Gordon Bombay over Willie. This is where people are going to start getting angry. So I did take Ray Kinsella, but I had Thad Castle beating Crash Davis.
I knew it.
And I actually have Thad Castle beating Ray Kinsella to move on to the Sweet 16. We've got the first Cinderella 13 seed moving on.
Holy shit.
Dude, Thad Castle is, I swear, I think it's just like that show kind of came out when we were in college, or like slightly before college, at least, Nick and Mitch, like it just, I don't know. It just hit me at the right age. You know what I mean?
Never seen Blue Mountain State. So.
It's so good. Honestly, man, we could have had a couple. Their characters go deep in that show that are like
Marty Daniels could have been on this list.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But Thad Castle and his oil changes, and oil changes. He moves on to the round of 16. Then I've got Billy Hoyle, White Man Can't Jump, beating Cal Naughton Jr. Loved. When that movie came, I think from like the age 8 to like 13, I watched White Man Can't Jump maybe once a week. So, just trying to inspire myself to be a good basketball player. I had Lou Brown over Jimmy Chitwood. Lou Brown moving on there. And then the matchup of the caddies, I had Romeo versus Bagger Vance. I like Romeo's teaching style as a caddy a little better than Bagger Vance. I want someone to get me liquored up before the round. Take me out to the first tee. No range balls. That's why I took Romeo over Bagger Vance to move on to the Sweet 16.
This is the cluster, the mind fuck that is this bracket, because you gave Bagger Vance 56 points, and we're part of the reason he is a 2 seed. And you're going to take, let me go see what you gave Romeo.
Again, it's all about matchups, Mitch. We all know
exactly.
that. It's
That's
all
the
about
thing.
matchups.
you're ranking that 64, and it gets so hard. Once you have the matchup right in front of your face, it just like you argue with yourself. That's what I texted you today.
I know.
I like the Willie Mays Hayes pick a lot. He is a great character. It's Billy Hamilton. Can't do anything but run.
Yeah.
But
and the fact that he wasn't even on the team, he's like just shows up.
Cut already? Oh, it's the best. It's the best. So in that movie, they only show him running in slow motion.
Yeah.
Because Wesley Snipes
is not
slow as molasses. Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, so
All right, Mitch, what do you got?
I've got Bombay in the Sweet 16. Again, purely out of respect. I had Willie Mays Hayes moving on in the second round there too, but taking that L. The Costner Bowl, I had Kinsella moving on. Cal Naughton Jr. versus Lou Brown for me. I took Cal Naughton Jr. Poised to make a run here. Took Romeo over Mr. Miyagi as well. I had the caddy matchup. I also went with Romeo, so similar vibes to you there, Justin. We've got Bombay, Kinsella, Naughton Jr., and Romeo Posar in the Sweet 16.
All right, defining moment. Truly
bracket.
a defining moment here.
All right, Nick, I'm going to toss it to you. You kick us off here.
All right. We got Chalk initially, Roy McAvoy taking down Smash Williams, who is that Friday Night Lights?
Yep.
All right.
Gets hooked on steroids for a little bit. It's all right.
Yeah.
Classic.
Adversity.
So I have Coach Klein meeting Roy McAvoy in the second round, and Coach Klein takes down Roy McAvoy to move on to the Sweet 16.
Here's the water boy bias right here. Here it is.
I mean, this is where all the characters are, so clearly.
That is so egregious, by the way. We're going to come back to that.
Yeah.
Listen, that was, I would say, one of two or three matchups throughout the entire bracket, not just like the first couple rounds where I just I went back and forth, and then I let my heart win. Sue me.
Fair. You got to do that. You got to do that in a bracket, you know?
Roy Kent meeting Chubbs Peterson there. I've never actually seen He Got Game. So I think that Jesus Shuttleworth, and I don't know if this is the same for you guys, I think he could have been a significantly higher seed. But again, I'm lost there. So I have no idea.
Such a great movie.
Yeah. So Roy Kent versus Chubbs. Chubbs taking down my boy Phil Weston in the first round. And then I have Chubbs Peterson moving on over Roy Kent. Judge Smales meeting. I didn't even write Bobby Boucher in on the rest of this bracket. He's the water boy. So I have the water boy taking down Judge Smales to move on to the Sweet 16. And then Hamilton Porter taking down your guys' boy Tim Riggins, facing Ricky Bobby, with Ricky Bobby moving on to the
It's a tough
Sweet 16.
matchup for Tim Riggins. I'll admit it. It's a tough matchup.
Yeah. Tough draw.
Yeah.
So to recap, I got Coach Klein versus Chubbs, Waterboy versus Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, the Coach Klein thing, that's like a failing upward situation, right? Like Bobby Boucher completely bails him out. Just unbelievable,
loses his green notebook and then kind of went downhill.
Unreal. All right, Guenth, give it to us.
Very similar. Had the Roy McAvoy over Mr. Coach Klein. Roy Kent over Chubbs. And then that leads to the Roy Bowl in the Sweet 16 there. Then I had, I guess next one would be the Bobby Bowl. The next Sweet 16 would be Bobby Boucher against Ricky Bobby. So yeah, I had Bobby Boucher over Judge Smales, and Ricky Bobby over Tim Riggins, which broke my heart. But hey,
someone had to do it.
You got to be honest. You got to be honest with yourself.
Mitch, I'll let you go. I'll go last. I've got one that's probably gonna anger some people. So you go first.
All right, cool. Not much different here, honestly, except for Coach Klein did not make it out of the first round. Come on, guys. Forrest Gump.
Thank you. All-American against an All-American.
Disrespectful. The man literally ran across the country.
Kick returner. An All-American kick returner, too.
Unbelievable.
Why he's an athlete for like 10 minutes of a 3-minute movie, guys.
I don't care. He's an athlete.
Yeah, just an elite. I also had Roy Kent over Jesus Shuttleworth. Another blind spot for me, too. I apologize. He got game I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, you apologize to Ray Allen, okay?
I will. Chubbs Peterson, obviously moving on there as well. Judge Smales, look, I had him as my 4th overall seed in this tournament. He's clearly moving on. And I've got him defeating Bobby Boucher in the second round matchup. The water boy goes down. Ham Porter versus Ricky Bobby down in the bottom. Ricky Bobby moves on. So I've got Roy McAvoy, Roy Kent, the Battle of the Roys, Judge Smales, and Ricky Bobby in my Sweet 16.
All right. So I got 10 Cup, unfortunately beating my boy Smash Williams. I also did have Forrest Gump moving on. So 10 Cup versus Forrest, look, he was an All-American, but 10 Cup is a Texas legend. So he moves on. And then I also have the Battle of the Roys. But I had Roy Kent versus Chubbs, but Roy Kent moving on. I have Judge Smales. I had Harry beating Smales for a hot second, and it didn't feel right. It didn't. Even though Rubin's racing, I had Smales, and this is the one that's going to make everybody angry. Pete Bell beating Bobby Boucher in the first round as another 14/3. That's 2 3 seeds that are now out. Pete Bell is a legend. He did cheat, though. That's part of the movie. I mean, buying tractors for people to get them to come to his school. But he was under the gun, man. Big school basketball. It's tough gig. And then I had Riggins going against Ricky Bobby. It was a tough one for me to take Riggins over Ham Porter, but I had to do it. We got Benny on the other side of the bracket still. And then I have Ricky Bobby beating Tim Riggins to round out. So I go Battle of the Roys, Smales, and Ricky, just like Mitch.
I can't believe you.
I gotta tell you, the Bobby Boucher is blasphemous. Just straight up.
If you've never seen Blue Chips, you don't understand.
You would have to tell 99% of the population who Pete Bell is.
It's about the matchups, Nick. I'm sorry, he had a bad matchup. They caught a team with a guy that just got hot from 3. I don't know what to tell you.
It's insane. It's insane that you just kind of fought a little bit hard for Forrest Gump right there, and he's an All-American. He also ran across the country a couple times.
And
he was also on the U.S. ping pong team.
We forgot about that. Yeah,
I did forget about that.
So,
I mean, he gets a win, but again, bad matchup for him in the second round, at least in my mind.
Fair.
Yeah. 100% on that.
Yeah.
And Ham Porter, like I said, you taking out Ham Porter, that was like your childhood doppelganger.
I know. God, it hurts, but Riggins is the man. Sacrifices himself for his brother, goes to prison for his brother. I mean, the ultimate sacrifice, almost the ultimate sacrifice, excuse me. But yeah, I again, if Ham Porter plays anybody else, any other 6 seed, he probably takes it, but not in this matchup.
But I bet Ham Porter went to class as a sophomore on Wednesdays.
Yeah. And he probably wasn't drinking at
Applebee's.
Yeah.
At Applebee's on a Wednesday. I don't do school on Wednesdays.
Gosh.
Dollarita night gets you. I get it. Yeah, all right. That's awesome. Anything else notable from getting to the Sweet 16 there? It feels like we covered some good ground.
No, I don't think I have anything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I had a note on here just to go straight to the Final Four, but I think let's just go ahead and go through the Elite Eight on the home at this point. We're going to talk about it anyway. So I'll kick us off here with the Southpaw bracket. So the rematch of Rocky versus Apollo Creed. Electric that worked out that way. Still had to go Rocky. I thought pretty hard about this one, to be honest. but I think I would have been forcing it. Like, if I'm being honest, Rocky deserves to move on there. And then Kenny Powers versus Ted Lasso. What this one came down to, Kenny Powers is like the ultimate like GIF generator, or like he's so meme worthy is really what it is. But I haven't seen it. Hand up, haven't seen Eastbound and Down at all. I only know him through pop culture.
That's
so
fair.
Ted Lasso moves on for me. And Up, if we're going straight to the Final Four, look, I had him as my number 1 overall seed. I'm taking Ted Lasso to the Final Four over Rocky.
Love it.
All right, well, I'll start us off here, or I'll go 2 in the Southpaw. I have Rocky versus Coach Eric Taylor. I got Rocky taking that one. The movies were just made at the proper time. You know, we got the USSR and all. It just plays into so many great things, at least in American culture. So Rocky moves on. Would have felt disrespectful, even though I love Coach Taylor. Yeah, again, Kenny Powers, I've seen that show at least 5 times. Electric character. You know, I think we all know somebody like that. You know, it's like that like peaked and then just like fell from the peak like very, very fast. But Ted Lasso was he was my 2nd overall seed in my rankings. I have him going against Rocky, and I have Ted Lasso beating Rocky to move on to the Final Four.
Taste it, Nick. Taste it.
So that's my Final Four pick out of that region.
I'll jump in there. Also, I think we had a clean sweep here or pretty close in the Sweet 16. I had Rocky and Creed. That was one of the other matchups where I kept going back and forth. I think you said I ranked Creed like as one of my. Now Rocky was in there too, but like 2 top 4 overall seeds going against one another. Went with Rocky. Yeah, and then Kenny Powers, Ted Lasso. I think you guys know where I went.
Yeah, I think we know.
Kenny Powers into the Elite 8, and then Rocky making his way into the Final Four out of that region.
Love it.
Nice. I had Roy Hobbs over Eric Taylor, and then I think we mentioned it in the our group text. The Kenny Powers Ted Lasso matchup. Like, imagining that happening in real life is the funniest. Like, that's the funniest one on here, because Kenny Powers is everything that is like every bad trait that a human being can have is Kenny Powers. Every good trait that a human being can have is Ted Lasso. So I had Ted Lasso over Kenny Powers. Both shows that I can watch over and over, and I never get tired of them. So that's a very high level Sweet 16 matchup. So I had Roy Hobbs against Ted Lasso, and we went with old Roy into the final.
Right. Wow.
Sticking true to his guns.
Wow, an 8 seed. But hey, every year there's like a 7 or 8 seed that makes the Final Four. So it feels like in the last 5 years.
All right, Justin, take us to the gold jacket. Who's facing off against Ted Lasso?
So between Shooter McGavin and Benny the Jet, this is unfortunately where we leave the PF Flyers behind. Shooter McGavin, just too electric of a character. And again, kind of like when the movie came out, it's kind of like childhood memories a little bit. And then I had Happy versus Carl Spackler. This is where we leave the superintendent behind, and we have a rematch of Shooter McGavin and Happy Gilmore in the Elite 8. And I took Shooter McGavin. I think as an overall character, just the villain is too good. It's too good to leave him out. And so I have Shooter in the Final Four.
Oh, love it. Guenth, what do you got?
I went very similar, actually. Shooter McGavin over Benny the Jet Rodriguez. I will say, I think that if Christopher McDonald had not continued that character on, I'm 99% sure he still runs that Twitter account. Like,
Does he really?
I think it's him. I don't think that I have this love for Shooter McGavin. Like, he's just kept this character up. He shows up at places that for no reason, and so he's into my Elite 8. I went.
Can we say he typecasted himself?
Yes, he did it that good.
Oh yeah.
I saw a clip of him at the Players at TPC Sawgrass today, and it wasn't like full on Shooter McGavin, but there was like a tinge of Shooter McGavin.
Yes. And kind of too, like you said with Kenny Powers, we do kind of all know somebody that has those Shooter McGavin, I'm better than you, I'm better than all these people. So that makes it funny. Happy Gilmore over Norman Dale for me. So again, Shooter and Happy battling it out for the gold jacket again. And we're going to give it to Shooter McGavin.
No, chalk so far. Okay.
Love that. I'll roll in here now. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, honestly, actually, you know what? A little bit different here. Shooter over Benny the Jet. Got that one. I stand with the superintendents. All right.
Wow.
I took Carl Spackler over Happy Gilmore. Denied Gilmore the chance to defend his gold jacket. But Shooter just obviously far and away blows Carl Spackler away.
For the record, by the way, Happy Gilmore, when he would go through his tantrums, would just completely damage the course.
Yeah.
What an electric matchup that is. The guy that preparing the course against the guy damaging the course.
Well, I mean, Carl Spackler did blow up the entire golf course.
Well, that's fair too.
And took some cuts on the flowers.
Yep.
I have Shooter and Benny both get chased in their respective movies. One of them actually doesn't get caught. So I have Benny the Jet taking down Shooter McGavin.
Okay. Hey, I like that.
Well done.
You talked about like the nostalgia. I think there was a summer where my grandma watched me, and I literally watched The Sandlot every single day for an entire summer. So I have Benny the Jet taking down Shooter, and then Happy versus Carl. I got Happy over the Super. And then Benny the Jet versus Happy Gilmore. I have Happy Gilmore moving on to the final four.
God, dude, I feel like we needed Kevin Harlan to announce that the Jet over Shooter. Yeah. Can you believe what we just saw? Holy shit. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that was electric. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone that was all for that bracket? Or that region?
Yeah.
All right. I'll kick us off in the Bombay region here, Flying V region, if you will. I had Bombay versus Kinsella. If you ask me name a sports movie, there's a high likelihood that I just say Field of Dreams right off the bat. And it's hard for me when I was sitting here thinking about this and I was trying to separate character from the movie and all that stuff. I've got Ray Kinsella moving on here into the Elite Eight.
Hold on, fun story about Field of Dreams that we have not brought up yet. Did you know, like, when that movie came out, like, you could buy it, or I think you got it with like a Happy Meal at McDonald's, or like I think you could buy it for like $5 or something like that, like a VHS at McDonald's for like Field of Dreams. That's how we got our Field of Dreams VHS. We bought it from McDonald's. Yeah,
had no idea. In the bottom half of that region, I had Cal Naughton Jr. versus Romeo. I went Cal Naughton Jr. I just think John C. Reilly is so good in that movie. It is unbelievable.
He is pretty good.
I honestly, you could argue, and I would listen to it, that he was better than Will Ferrell as Ricky Bobby in that.
When he calls Ricky Bobby from Ricky Bobby's house, the house is making all kinds of weird sounds. It's so good. It is so good.
Is it Cal Naughton Jr. or Mike Honcho?
You don't know. You never know. Full spread.
God, it's been a while since I've seen that. I need to rewatch that one pretty soon. But Ray Kinsella moving on to the final four, the 5 seed done. I can't deny Kevin Costner. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah. I'll jump in. Don't hate the Ray Kinsella pick at all. Field of Dreams is an all-timer. For my Sweet 16, I do have him bowing out to the coach of the Ducks, Gordon Bombay. And then I had Lou Brown and Bagger Vance in the other Sweet 16 matchup, with Lou Brown moving on over Bagger Vance, leading to a Gordon Bombay Lou Brown matchup with the District 5 Minnesota Miracle Man, moving on to the Final Four, Gordon Bombay.
I respect the Lou Brown going that far, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I had him going out to Cal Non Jr., honestly, but
when we originally talked about this, we talked like Lou Brown could be maybe even be a 1 seed when we originally started talking about this.
Dude, he just, the voice.
He's good.
Yeah,
He's
it's so good.
I got to
They
sell a pair of white
they call him to manage. He's like, I got an order of tires coming in. I'll let you know.
oh god.
All right, Gun, go ahead.
All right, so I had Shane Falco and Crash Davis. I got Crash Davis going. I already sung my praises for him, so I won't do that again. And then I have Lou Brown against Bagger Vance. I went with Bagger Vance. Man, that scene when he starts breaking down, like, hey, you have your true authentic swing, and I got the music going. Man, that is an elite movie scene.
It's pretty magical.
Yeah. Yep. And so then I had Crash Davis against Bagger Vance, and we went with Crash Davis on that one.
I think we all kind of had a feeling of that. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I had Gordon Bombay, my Cinderella story, Thad Castle. I went with Gordon Bombay to move on to the Elite Eight between those two. This is where the magic ends for Thad Castle and the oil changes. Ran out of oil changes, apparently.
And Oksana.
I had Lou Brown versus Romeo, and I went with Romeo. It's, again, clashing coaching styles. I want a guy that's going to get me really liquored up. Tequila,
It's the second time he said that.
The second time. I need it again. That's what I'm saying. Like,
for round 2, yeah.
But I went with Romeo, so I got Gordon Bombay going up against Romeo and quack, quack, quack.
Yes.
I took Gordon Bombay to move on to the Final Four.
Man, love that. All right, we're down to it here. Defining moment region. Nick, kick us off here.
All right, so Coach Klein versus Chubbs in the first matchup. I have Chubbs Peterson moving on, so the Coach Klein drama can be left behind. And then the Waterboy versus Ricky Bobby. Waterboy moving on over Ricky Bobby.
Bobby Bowl.
Not really close, in my opinion. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Cal Naughton Jr., I think, is a better character than Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
So I have Chubbs and a different Adam Sandler character, the Waterboy, battling it out to move on to the Final Four. I got the Waterboy taking that last Final Four spot. Do you want me to recap my Final Four picks?
Yeah, I was going to say, everybody recap their Final Four at the end of this one.
So on one side of the bracket, I will have Rocky Balboa versus Happy Gilmore, and then Gordon Bombay versus the Waterboy.
Excellent. So I had the
2 1 seeds, 2 3 seeds. Sorry.
Excellent. I had in the Roy Bowl, Roy McAvoy against Roy Kent. I went with old Roy Kent. Just a great character, man.
He's every fucking where.
Yes, yes, he is the best. I mean, he's so good. Bobby Boucher and Ricky Bobby in the Bobby Bowl. I ended up going with Ricky Bobby. On this one. Just, he had his ups, he had his downs, stabbed himself in the leg. And so that leaves me with Roy Kent against Ricky Bobby. We're going to go with, went with Roy Kent. So that gives me Crash Davis and Roy Kent on the right side of the bracket. And it gives me Roy Hobbs and Shooter McGavin on the left side of the bracket.
You kept the Ted Lasso dream alive with Roy Kent.
I did.
An eclectic Final Four.
Yeah, this one very much feels like man, wouldn't this be fun if these teams made the Final Four bracket that we all fill out every year? So,
you had an 8, a 1, a 4, and a 5, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'll go next. So I had 10 Cup versus Roy Kent, the Battles of the Roys. I had 10 Cup winning the Battle of the Roys. The bottom one, I had Smales versus Ricky Bobby. This is where Judge Smales, gets off the boat. So I took Ricky Bobby there. So I've got Ricky Bobby versus 10 Cup, and I took 10 Cup over Ricky Bobby to round out my final four. So I went Ted Lasso versus Shooter McGavin on one side, Gordon Bombay versus Roy McAvoy. I had 3 1s and a 2. So I had some early upsets, chalk later.
Yeah. Yeah, all of your Cinderella stories died pretty swiftly there.
Yeah.
All right, for me, the defining moment region, got to take Roy McAvoy over Roy Kent. As much as I love Roy Kent, but that's where we're going. I kept the dream alive one more round for Judge Smales taking down Ricky Bobby. Look, I had him as my 4th best character, but he was behind Roy McAvoy. These, I think, were my 2nd and 4th ranked characters in this bracket. So unfortunate that they had to face one another here, but it is what it is. Roy McAvoy moves on to the final 4. So to recap, I have Ted Lasso, Shooter McGavin on one side, Ray Kinsella, and Roy McAvoy, Kevin Costner, again head-to-head in the final 4.
I don't hate it. Good. I'm glad we're on the same page with the 10 Cup in the final 4.
Yeah, 100%. All right, down to it now. Time to make some real serious picks. I cannot with I can't believe how different all of our final fours honestly are. Like there's a lot of parity here. Justin,
literally and figuratively.
Yeah. So I'm on the left side between the South Pole and the Gold Jacket region. I had Ted Lasso versus Shooter McGavin. Obviously, in my final 4, 2 of my favorite characters, and it's not even recency bias. Ted Lasso, from a pop culture standpoint, too, is like it's so big. It worked its way up in like top 3 shows for me after the first season. It was that quick. So I went with Ted Lasso over Shooter McGavin, Gordon Bombay versus 10 Cup. This is where I gotta leave Gordon Bombay behind. Look, 10 Cup is not Iceland, okay? And I take 10 Cup over Gordon Bombay. And then my final is Ted Lasso versus 10 Cup. And this was a tough one, but I just go back. I've probably played in 4 U.S. Open qualifiers, and I've watched 10 Cup the night before the U.S. Open qualifier. And I don't think it gets any deeper than that. I've played multiple rounds of golf with only a 7-iron. So there's that as well. So I am taking 10 Cup over Ted Lasso as my best sports character.
Oh, I love that. Like I said, Kevin Costner I think is the GOAT of the bracket here, so I cannot fault you at all for going that route.
Respect.
Yeah, Guenth, you're up, buddy.
Over there on the right side of the bracket, we had Crash Davis up against Roy Kent, and as Kevin Costner, he's going to beat out Roy Kent and find himself in the Best Fictional Sports Character National Championship. Over on the left side of the bracket, we had Shooter McGavin and Roy Hobbs, and we went ahead and we went with Roy Hobbs.
You're
I'm the most predictable out of any of us here. So we had Roy Hobbs and Iris, and Crash Davis and Annie Savoy, and we're going to go with Roy Hobbs as our best character.
Okay,
that's it. It takes a great character to even make the championship. Crash Davis is that great character, but Roy Hobbs, like I said, nobody better.
God, dude, honestly, probably the most electric championship game. I mean, Redford versus Costner, just
man,
pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, and then think about stacking up the characters those two have played.
Yeah,
you got Roy Hobbs, Jay Gatsby. You got the Sundance Kid. That's
deep.
Heavy
Kevin
hitters.
Costner, he's got 3 of them on here. So
Superman's dad. No.
Yes.
Pa Kent.
John Dutton.
Oh man. All right, Nick.
All right, so Southpaw versus Gold Jacket regions. I had Rocky taking on Happy Gilmore, and Happy Gilmore gets knocked out by Bob Barker. He gets his revenge here, takes down the lefty, beats Rocky to go to the final. So we got Happy Gilmore in the final. Over on the right side, we got Coach Bombay and the Water Boy. Fellas, or for anybody listening, we're going to have an all Adam Sandler national championship.
God, that's a disgrace.
We have the Water Boy taking down Coach Bombay. So in the national championship, in the final, we have Happy Gilmore versus the Water Boy. And this is the first time I've said it since the beginning. Bobby Boucher,
Oh my God.
best fictional sports
What
character.
Mama don't know won't hurt her.
Something's wrong with his medulla oblongata.
Oh, yes. Yes.
An all Adam Sandler final is not what I predicted from anybody's bracket, including you, who was pretty clearly on Waterboy from the beginning. So,
Yeah.
Man, I didn't see that Final Four upset coming. I thought
No.
Bombay was
Hey,
was
listen,
right as rain there, but
dude, I love the Mighty Ducks.
and as
but-
much as you love the Water Boy, I think Rachel might actually be a bigger fan.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
One of Rachel's friends is a massive. She grew up with 5 brothers, so she's a massive Waterboy fan. But yeah,
wow.
This is like the perfect synopsis of how stupid this whole thing was. It was right there on your racket. Rocky was your number 1 overall seed, and Gordon Bombay was your second.
You could have.
You said fuck that.
how far down did I have Waterboy and Happy Gilmore? It couldn't. They had to be top 10.
Yeah, you probably had them pretty high. Yeah, I mean they were. Waterboy was your 4th overall, and Happy Gilmore was your 5th.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there you go.
you're fishing in
Yeah.
the same waters there, but it's just I don't know, just funny. Oh man! All right, I guess I got to bring us home here. Ted Lasso, again, I said it before, my number 1 overall character. Shooter McGavin, really hard to stare at this one, and again, another one of these like dichotomy of character matchups here, similar to the Kenny Powers Ted Lasso situation. But you know what? Good guys win in this bracket, and we're taking Ted Lasso to the championship.
Excellent.
In the battle of Kevin Costner, Ray Kinsella versus Roy McAvoy. I'm going to default to the golf movie. Sorry.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We're going to take Roy McAvoy. I've got the same matchup as Justin in the championship game. However, Ted Lasso gets it done. This could be recency bias. I will admit that. Fully admit that. But I can't tell you a show or a movie that has made me feel more good after watching it than Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
And honestly, in 2025, that kind of means a lot, I think. So I'm taking Ted Lasso for it all.
Yeah, it's funny. I heard someone say this. There, like, it was a guy that's like works in HR, and he was like, Ted Lasso is like the ultimate HR movie, and the fact that like he comes into just a blazing mess, and like somehow makes it into like this well-oiled machine of everybody loving everybody. Truly a magical story. I'd agree with you there.
Yeah, and honestly, you know what? It influenced my parenting. Like, straight up. The be curious scene, the dart scene in the bar. I tell Zach, be curious, not judgmental all the time.
Yeah.
Like, straight up. And that's kind of, honestly, you could say that that's like a core value for me. So, Ted Lasso.
Excellent.
Man,
Excellent.
look at that.
Well
So
done, fellas.
To recap real quick, we got a Ted Lasso, Justin Roy McAvoy, Nick Waterboy.
Yep.
And the natural Roy Hobbs for Guenth.
Yep.
Man.
Eclectic.
What a lineup. What a lineup.
That's strong. That's
4
a
different
strong Mount
sports.
Rushmore there.
All great actors, by the way. Well, maybe outside.
Listen, hey, I'll hand up. I'll admit, I don't know that Adam Sandler would fall into the great actor category.
No, but
Jason Sudeikis, thank you. But you know,
every
respect.
movie he plays in, it's like maybe outside of Waterboy is like he's dating a girl or married to a girl completely out of his field.
Whose
Out of the
initials are
stadium.
all
He's not
BB.
even in the same stadium as some of these chicks. So
Vicky Valancourt.
Yeah.
Virginia Bennett.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man. All right. Well, somebody cue one shining moment. Tournament is over. We've crowned our champions. Thank you everyone out there for listening or watching, however you took this in. Just a reminder, please smash the like button, subscribe, rate, and review of the show. Follow us on social media at Back96Pack. Like I said, this should be up on the website if you want to get the bracket. If I don't get it up there, it's going to be on social media. So find your bracket, print it out, fill it out, send us fan mail. There's a link down in the show description. You can tell us what we got right, what we got wrong. Probably much more about what we got wrong. And yeah, send all of your seeding complaints to Nick Gray.
I'm here for him, baby. Forward him.
All right. Well, thank you to the three of you. Electric episode. So
Yes.
until
Thank
next
you.
time, everybody.
See ya.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.